So how exactly do you make your internet faster and more reliable? I'm glad you asked. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of fireside. That smokiness, that goodness, guys. Just love it, that lap song. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking photo, talking video. Today is a tech day. A lot of you guys in the live streams have been asking about, how do you make your internet faster? What do you do? How do you make it more reliable? And there's a bunch of different ways of doing so, and I've covered some of them last year, but I want to get into them a little bit today because we need a refresher, let's say. I'm going to get into 4 different routers that I've personally tested to give you an idea of which ones work the best, as well as at the end of this video, I'll give you a bonus of something else that you can do. But before we get into this, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks as of yet, go check them out. They're 100% free. Go to JCristina.com/books. Once again, JCristina.com/books. And if you find value in this video, consider throwing it a thumbs up. That would be really helpful. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and then click this little button over here so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you will be notified of it immediately. And recently, we've been going live every Friday night, right around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come and join us, hang out, and just shoot it with us. We're usually hanging out and just talking about all kinds of topics on Friday night. And normally I bring my wife along so you can see her and have something easy on your eyes instead of me, this face, all the time. Anyways, don't forget, during the month of May, I'll be doing the 3,000 push-up challenge. This is benefiting the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So if you want to donate, there'll be like a donation button down here. I will be doing those 3,000 push-ups. I'm hoping to raise $3,000, $1 per push-up. But that will be up to you guys for donations. I think there's about $700 already donated, which is awesome. We're trying to get to that 3,000 mark. Hopefully we can do it. Fingers crossed. Donate if you can. Also, if you just want to say thank you for all of my hard work, there's a little thank you button down here that you can click. If you have $1 or $2, that would be fantastic. If not, that would be fine too. Just consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. Anyways, guys, let's jump right into this. Once again, I tested out physically, my hands, 4 hours, 4 different routers that we're going to cover. I've actually done about a dozen, but we're going to cover 4 today, and maybe we'll do more in another video. Now, these routers I selected because number one, they were kind of budget friendly. Some of them were a little bit more expensive, but they're budget-y, let's say. It's not like, for example, a Peplink that might be $500, which is an awesome router. We're not going to cover that today. These are all going to be anywhere from about $60 to $160, somewhere around there. So you get a balance between, let's say, under $200 for a router. At any rate, the reason why I'm making this video once again is to show you which routers are working best for people that are looking to have a connection that is solid, that doesn't go down. So all of the routers that I am checking out are all multiple WAN routers. What the heck does this mean? I'm glad you asked. A multi-WAN router basically is a router that allows you to bring into it multiple internet connections. So a multi-WAN router might have 2 connections available or 3 WAN ports available to it. That means, like, for example, for me right now, I have AT&T, I have T-Mobile, and I have Starlink, all coming into the routers. So this is really important when it comes to redundancy. So if you need some type of load balancing between all of them, or if you need a failover when something really goes south and it needs to fail over, hence the name, fail over to the other connection, it will do that. If you don't know what load balancing is, it's once again, what the name states, it load balances. It balances the load between all of the networks. So once again, you have failover and you have load balancing. And all of these modems or routers do this. So the first routers I tested out were all TP-Link routers. So there was 2 of them. One was a consumer grade TP-Link router and the other one was a professional or let's say commercial grade version of it. Now, the idea that we're shooting for here, once again, is for me to be able to stream and not go down. I don't turn into like a Minecraft character and become like all pixelized, or my voice starts sounding robotic or something like that. Or you get the little twirly twirl where we're spooling and buffering. None of that. That's the whole idea behind this. But that's my use case. Your use case might be you're a gamer and you don't want to go down during a game and then you end up dead. Or maybe you are a professional and you work from home and you're on a Zoom meeting or some type of Facebook meeting or whatever, and you don't want to, once again, turn into a Minecraft character or start spooling, or all of a sudden you're just gone and the connection drops. You need to have a solid connection. And that's the idea of failover and load balancing, or should be. We'll get into that before the end of the video. So the first router that I tested out was the consumer grade version of TP-Link, which is an ER605, and is a really, really solid router. Very, very good. The problem is the testing that I did was, once again, to try to see if it was able to fail over from WAN 1 to WAN 2 and do it quick enough so that if you're watching me on a stream, you don't end up saying like, hey, where'd he go? Or why is this spooling? Or why is he sounding weird? Or why is he looking all digitized? What's going on? So the idea was to switch once again from WAN 1 to WAN 2, or from WAN 2 to WAN 3, whenever one of those WAN connections or internet connections went down. Well, I did a bunch of tests. I tested this thing for hours. And what I found was the minimum amount of time that it would switch from WAN 1 to WAN 2 was about 25 seconds. So 25 to about 35 seconds was the interval, the amount of time to switch. So the problem with that is if you were watching me, I would be gone for up to 25 seconds. That is a problem, all right? That is a major problem. So this was really not going to work out for me. So for my use case, even though the router was exceptional for the price, and it does a lot of QoS or quality of service, a lot of things built into it, I still recommend the router. It is an exceptional router for the price, a great value. But for, once again, for my use case, it just simply wasn't going to work. So I ended up buying the TP-Link, the ER7206. Now this one is a professional grade router, as they call it, commercial grade. And what does this mean? Well, what this means is it gives you more tunnels, right? More VPN access. It has a stronger processor in it and things like of this nature. But the question is, does it actually fail over faster? Does it load balance any different? And the answer to that is negatory. It doesn't. It was amazing to me. It literally failed over in the same amount of time, 25 to 35 seconds. So what did I do for you guys? I got on the phone with tech support. They referred me over to one of their engineers, and I spoke to one of their engineers for quite some time. We went over a whole bunch of different things. And the bottom line is, when all is said and done, after literally a day of working on this with them back and forth, there is nothing that they can do. It is a firmware thing, and that's just the way it is, and that's how long it takes to fail over from one WAN to the next WAN. What they did say is they were going to have an engineer reach out to me once there is a workaround or some type of fix, or maybe a hot firmware update that I can test out. Well, I haven't heard from them yet, but I will keep you in the know if I do. Now, the next router that I checked out was the UTT router. Now, I never heard of this company before. I'm like, who the heck is UTT? Well, it is the ER840G. Now, don't write all this stuff down. In the pinned comment as well as the description, I will put all of these routers, and I'll put my comments on them too. So don't worry. If you're listening to me and you're not watching me and you're listening to the podcast, just relax. They will all be down in the pinned comment as well as in the description. So once you get out of the car, you can go and check it out. Anyways, so this once again is the UTT ER840G. And once again, I never heard of these people before. So I said, you know what, let's go ahead and test them out and see how they do. And they did better. guys. They did better. I tested them for hours. And once again, I started up a private stream on YouTube. I monitored how long it would take from switching from WAN 1 to WAN 2 and from WAN 2 to WAN 3, so on and so forth. And what I found was no matter if I did load balancing or if I did failover, the amount of time that it would take from going from one WAN or one internet connection to the next as a backup would be 20 seconds. That was the minimum time. Maximum was right around 38 seconds, but that was probably an anomaly. It was normally between 20 and 30 seconds. So even at 20 seconds, that is not bad. For my use case, of course, it is bad. But for your case, it might not be. If you're streaming, it's not great. If you're gaming, it's not great. But for example, if you're using this router and that's all you're doing is you're surfing the web, or you're using it for 4K TV, or whatever the case is, there is buffering that's going on. So you're looking at 20 seconds is not a big deal to be down. You probably will only notice about maybe 10 seconds of it, if that. Depends on how much buffering is going on the back end of either your TV or your computer. So it is by far better and cheaper than the TP-Link, that ER7206 or whatever, the professional grade version. Don't look at that at all. If you want to get the TP-Link, look at the other cheaper one, once again, down below. So this UTT did really quite well, in my personal opinion. Once again, about 20 seconds was the best that it was able to move over from WAN 1 to WAN 2. Not that bad. Now, I moved on to, once again, another router, and this one was called a Trendnet router, or a TWG 431BR. Once again, down below, you'll see it. Well, this 431BR did an exceptional job. I tested it the exact same way as I tested all the rest of the routers. I started a brand new private stream, and then I went over to WAN 1, took that out to see how long it would take to go from WAN 1 to WAN 2. And I stopwatched it, and I did it over and over and over and over again. And what I found was it wasn't an anomaly how well this thing worked. It actually worked this well. The question is, how well did it work? How many seconds, Joe? The answer is 0 seconds. I'm like, what is that even about? How is that even possible? Literally 0 seconds. And it transferred from WAN 1 to WAN 2 when WAN 1 went down. I'm like, oh my God, we have something here. This is the one for me. This is the one for you. Well, hold up just a second. Maybe not. The problem is this. Even though it went from WAN 1 to WAN 2 immediately, when WAN 1 came back up online, it wouldn't go back. It stayed on WAN 2 in perpetuity, forever. I'm like, oh my God, this thing was going to be perfect. How is this even possible? Why doesn't it switch back like all the other ones, back to WAN 1 when WAN 1 came back online, or load balanced? Now, this Trendnet router does not fail over. It load balances all the time. So you would think that it would immediately pick that back up. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. I researched this a little bit, and I found that it was running the open or free open source type of router software, which is called DDWRT. Some of you guys might be aware of what that is. So I know this firmware is really good firmware, and it is very customizable. So I'm like, what is going on here? This doesn't make any sense. So what did I do? I once again got on the phone. And this time I got on the phone and I found out that I'm talking to someone in Texas. I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. I even asked him, I'm like, where is this product coming from? He's like, yeah, it's from the US. I'm like, wow, this is kind of nice. It's unlike most of the other routers, right? I'm like, okay, this is cool. So I talked to this really nice gentleman over there and we went through things. He was one of the engineers. I'm like, okay, this is my use case. This is what I need to do. And this is what your unit is doing. It will fail over from WAN 1 to WAN 2, but when WAN 1 comes back online, it will not go back. So he's like, let me test some things out. So he went into the router, he tested some things, he tried some different things, and literally after about 2 hours of working back and forth with this engineer, for you, we ended up getting nowhere. What he basically said is this: the way the software works is that it is session-based. It is not packet-based. What does this mean? What this means is when it starts a session or when you start a session, for example, when I go live on YouTube, right? And we are live and we are connected through this tunnel or this session. Well, when it goes, once again, load balancing from WAN 1 to WAN 2, that's fine. It's over on WAN 2. The problem is it can't go back to WAN 1 because WAN 1 is dead. So, since it is dead, the only way to fix the situation is to start a new session. I don't want to start a new session, right? Because that means that anyone who's watching me, they're going to have to go to another stream, right? That's not good. Or they're going to be out for who knows how long while I'm starting a new session. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm stopping OBS and then I'm going to restart it and start a whole new session. I don't need that. I don't want that. That is not the answer. So even though the Trendnet is really fantastic, moving from WAN 1 to WAN 2, the problem is it will never go back to WAN 1. And if you're using a system, for example, and you have a backup on WAN 2, and you're paying per gigabit for that backup, what does this mean? This means if your primary, your WAN 1 that you're getting for free, let's say because it's unlimited, fails and goes over to WAN 2, you're not even going to know it. You're just going to be paying and paying and paying and paying. It's a problem, right, guys? It is a problem. So out of these 4 routers, I would recommend the UTT for me. The reason being is it fails over the quickest out of all of them. It has pretty good QoS built into it. Now, what I've found lately is there's another solution. And the solution that I've been using has been kind of a combination of solutions. Number one, we're using the UTT primary to get in the signal. Then I'm using a switch. Now, if you don't know what a switch is, a managed switch, it allows you to do QoS or quality of service and say, I want X number of data to go down this port, or I want only this data to go down that port, or whatever. It's a good way of segregating a network or multiple networks. So I would recommend you get a managed switch, no matter what your setup is, all right? I could do a whole video about that and how important it is. I mean, you literally, for me, I send down one port, only AT&T, which is my slow connection, just for guests that are just on the network, just playing around because they need to make a phone call or they're just surfing the web or something like that. AT&T is more than sufficient for that, and it doesn't hinder the Starlink connection or the T-Mobile connection. So only the guest will get the slower connection, which is I've never had a problem with in the past. And if I need to give them faster, I can always do it. But it's a way, once again, to segregate traffic. Managed switch. Now, what I've been using for the last month is a software-based type of solution, and it's called Speedify. And the reason being is it means to not only have a VPN, but also it gives me better reliability and faster speeds. Now, how does it do this? Is it like load balancing? Is it like failover? Is it like the other routers? Yes and no. It is like the other routers where it does failover and it does load balancing, but what it does different is it doesn't do session-based connections. They are packet-based. Why is that important? Like we saw with the Trendnet, the session-based, once one would fail, it would not go back. You would have to recreate the session. Whereas with Speedify, it's doing packet-based. So does it do the exact same thing? Once again, yes, it does load balancing, it does the failover, but since it is down to the packet or bits or bytes, that means when I am streaming, it knows that I'm streaming. So instead of going for speed, it goes for redundancy. What does that mean? That means that it is going to mirror every single packet that is going out from me. So it will send every packet mirrored down each and every internet connection. Whichever one gets there, whichever packet gets there is saved by the server, and the other ones are tossed. And this is how it works. So there's a mean speed. Let's say it's a little bit slower, obviously, because you're not going for speed, you're going for redundancy. So what's beautiful about this is you don't go down ever. Truly don't go down. As long as one of your 1, 2, 3, 10 connections are connected to Speedify, you are going to be up. Period. End of story. So what I'm using is kind of like a hybrid solution. I'm bringing all of the internet services in through a managed switch. And from that managed switch, I can do QoS and say, where do I want and how much data and what times and who gets what and all the rest of the stuff through that managed switch. And then from that, it goes into the UTT router. Now, the UTT router can do all of the rest of the things that I don't want the managed switch to do, as well as routing, because in my personal opinion, I think everything should have a specific task. A modem should mode. A router should route. Right? A switch should do QoS. It should be switching, right? That's what it should be doing. There is specific tasks. That's the way I do things. And now having the Speedify on the end of all of this, combining things together and being able to give me a true redundant connection allows me to go live with my wife on Fridays. If you're not there, you should be. Come join us. Anyways, and not have to worry about any type of spooling, no buffering, no digitization, no horrible voice kind of like robotic sound, none of that stuff. We are up. And we've had times where it is extreme weather, where it's just horrible. And I know Starlink is going down. T-Mobile is picking up the slack, and we do not know the difference. And you guys watching are none the wiser either. So this is a great solution. Once again, if you're a gamer, if you maybe stream on Twitch or on Facebook, or maybe you stream on YouTube or Rumble, or maybe you are a home business owner and you're on a lot of meetings. You don't want to be on meetings and be in and out, and sometimes you're working, sometimes you're not, and your voice is kind of going in and out, and then your picture is starting to get blurry, and you don't want that. It just looks like trash. It doesn't look like you're a professional, right? So this is a solution for that. And the nice folks over there at Speedify gave me a promo code. The promo code is JCristina. So if you go over there and you check out, you use JCristina, you get an additional 20% off just for using my code. But what's even easier is if you use my link, which is jcristina.com/speed, once again, jcristina.com/speed, you automatically get the 20% off. You don't have to type anything in. And this is in addition to any other type of savings that they have going on. I think they have like a summer sale going on or something right now. Anyways, go and check that out. I think that this is a great alternative to trying to use a router to get this to work. Once again, if you're looking for just a router to route, I think that that UTT would be perfect for you. If you're not streaming, you don't need to be on all the time with no outages ever. Well, I think the UTT is really solid for the price. It is a really good value. But I'll put all of these routers once again down below in the pinned comment as well as the description. You can go and check them out. They are over on Amazon, so if you buy anything, I might get $1 or $2. Maybe 50 cents. I don't know. Anyways, it is what it is. But yeah, check that out. Use the links if you want to support the channel. And well, once again, if you want to say thank you for all of my hard work, there is a thank you button down there that you can click if you would like to. If not, that's all right. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Click this button over here so when I go live, you'll be notified of it. And finally, head over to my website, jcristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools I've invented for you and me over the years. And hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you all.